Minerva turned, with orbs of stern displeasure, towards the maid Aglaros, and her bosom heaved with sighs so deeply laboured that her aegis shield was shaken on her valiant breast. For she remembered when Aglaros gave, to view her charge, with impious hand, that monster form without a mother, maugre nature's law, what time the god who dwells on Lemnos loved. Now, to requite the god and sister, her to punish whose demand of gold was great, Minerva to the cave of envy sped. Dark, hideous with black gore, her dread abode is hidden in the deepest hollowed cave, in utmost limits where the genial sun may never shine, and where the breathing winds may never venture. Dismal, bitter cold, untempered by the warmth of welcome fires, involved forever in abounding gloom. When the fair champion came to this abode, she stood before its entrance, for she deemed it not a lawful thing to enter there, and she whose arm is mortal to her foes, struck the black doorposts with her pointed spear, and shook them to the centre. Straight the doors flew open, and behold, within was envy ravening the flesh of vipers, self-begot, the nutriment of her depraved desires. When the great goddess met her evil gaze, she turned her eyes away. But envy slow, in sluggish languor from the ground uprose, and left the scattered serpents half devoured, then moving with a sullen pace, approached. And when she saw the gracious goddess, girt with beauty and resplendent in her arms, she groaned aloud and fetched up heavy sighs. Her face is pale, her body long and lean, her shifting eyes glance to the left and right, her snaggle teeth are covered with black rust, her hanging paps overflow with bitter gall, her slavered tongue drips venom to the ground. Busy in schemes and watchful in dark snares, sweet sleep is banished from her bloodshot eyes. Her smiles are only seen when others weep. With sorrow she observes the fortunate, and pines away as she beholds their joy. Her own existence is her punishment, and while tormenting, she torments herself. Although Minerva held her in deep scorn, she thus commanded her with winged words. Instill thy poison in Aglaros, child of Cecrops. I command thee, do my will. She spake, and spurning with her spear, the ground departed. And the sad and furtive-eyed envy observed her in her glorious flight. She murmured at the goddess, great in arms, but waiting not, she took in hand her staff, which bands of thorns encircled as a wreath, and veiled in midnight clouds, departed thence. She blasted on her way the ripening fields, scorched the green meadows, starred with flowers, and breathed a pestilence throughout the land and the great cities. When her eyes beheld the glorious citadel of Athens, great in art and wealth, abode of joyful peace, she hardly could refrain from shedding tears, that nothing might be witnessed worthy tears. She sought the chamber where Aglaros slept, and hastened to obey the god's behest. She touched the maiden's bosom with her hands, foul with corrupting stains, and pierced her heart with jagged thorns, and breathed upon her face a noxious venom, and distilled through all the marrow of her bones, and in her lungs a poison blacker than the ooze of pitch. And lest the canker of her poisoned soul might spread unchecked throughout increasing space, she caused a vision of her sister's form to rise before her, happy with the god who shone in his celestial beauty. All appeared more beautiful than real life. When the most wretched daughter of Cecrops had seen the vision, secret torment seized on all her vitals, and she groaned aloud, tormented by her frenzy day and night. A slow consumption wasted her away, as ice is melted by the slant sunbeam when the cool clouds are flitting in the sky. If she but thought of Herse's happiness, she burned, as thorny bushes are consumed with smouldering embers under steaming stems. She could not bear to see her sister's joy, and longed for death, an end of misery, or schemed to end the torture of her mind by telling all she knew in shameful words, whispered to her austere and upright sire. But after many agonizing hours, she sat before the threshold of their home to intercept the god, who as he neared spoke softly in smooth blandishment. "Enough," she said. "I will not move from here until thou hast departed from my sight." "Let us adhere to that which was agreed," rejoined the graceful-formed Selenian god, who as he spoke thrust open with a touch of his compelling wand the carved door. But when she made an effort to arise, her thighs felt heavy, rigid and benumbed, and as she struggled to arise, her knees were stiffened, and her nails turned pale and cold, her veins grew pallid as the blood congealed, and even as the dreaded cancer spreads through all the body, adding to its taint the flesh uninjured. So a deadly chill entered by slow degrees her breast, and stopped her breathing, and the passages of life. She did not try to speak, but had she made an effort to complain, there was not left a passage for her voice. Her neck was changed to rigid stone, her countenance felt hard. She sat a bloodless statue, but of stone, not marble white. Her mind had stained it black. So from the land of Pallas went the god, his great revenge accomplished on the head of impious Aglauros, and he soared on waving wings into the opened skies. And there his father called him to his side, and said, with words to hide his passion, "Son, thou faithful minister of my commands, let naught delay thee, swiftly take the way, accustomed to the land of Sidon, which adores thy mother's star upon the left. When there, drive over to the sounding shore that royal herd, which far away is fed on mountain grass." He spoke, and instantly the herd was driven from the mountainside, then headed for the shore, as Jove desired, to where the great king's daughter often went in play, attended by the maids of Tyre. Can love abide the majesty of kings? Love cannot always dwell upon a throne. Jove laid aside his glorious dignity, for he assumed the semblance of a bull and mingled with the bullocks in the groves, his colour white as virgin snow, untrod, unmelted by the watery southern wind. His neck was thick with muscles, dewlaps hung between his shoulders, and his polished horns, so small and beautifully set, appeared the artifice of man, fashioned as fair and more transparent than a lucent gem. His forehead was not lowered for attack, nor was there fury in his open eyes. The love of peace was in his countenance. When she beheld his beauty and mild eyes, the daughter of Agenor was amazed, but daring not to touch him, stood apart until her virgin fears were quieted. Then, near him, fragrant flowers in her hand she offered, tempting to his gentle mouth, and then the loving god in his great joy kissed her sweet hands, and could not wait her will. Jove then began to frisk upon the grass, or laid his snow-white side on the smooth sand, yellow and golden. As her courage grew, he gave his breast one moment for caress, or bent his head for garlands newly made, wreathed for his polished horns. The royal maid, unwitting what she did, at length sat down upon the bull's broad back. Then by degrees the god moved from the land and from the shore, and placed his feet, that seemed but shining hoofs, in shallow water by the sandy merge, and not a moment resting bore her thence, across the surface of the middle sea, while she affrighted gazed upon the shore, so fast receding, and she held his horn with her right hand, and steadied by the left, held on his ample back. And in the breeze her waving garments fluttered as they went.